Hi guys and welcome back to another video. So in today's video I want to talk about some more worries I have about GTA 6. Yes, I've done a couple of videos about some of my concerns, but there are a few things that do worry me. Now before anyone jumps in the comments to say that I am a hater or I'm against Rockstar in any way, shape or form, I think it's very clear that I'm a huge fan of Rockstar and in particular Grand Theft Auto games. However, I'm currently in a weird position where I'm battling between wanting the most realistic game ever, but also a game that's actually playable. Now this is quite a controversial topic and I've seen a lot of different opinions about this from all different forums plus my own Discord, and I can't really come to a solid conclusion on what I think this game will be like. And that's perfectly healthy. Like, we're not supposed to know what the game is going to be like because we don't have it yet. All we have is Rockstar's past, the decisions they've made, and a rough trajectory of where they're going as a business. Now more recently, I've had a lot more time to reflect about some of the videos I made a couple of months ago and think a bit more in depth about what I would like from the game and what I'm expecting Grand Theft Auto 6 to be like. On one hand, I want this really realistic game, but at the same time, realism can make the game tedious. So for example, a couple of months ago, I was fully of the mindset of I would love a refueling mechanic, because the idea of putting fuel in your car and it being more realistic and a more engaging environment sounds awesome. But recently I've been playing through Red Dead Redemption 2 on the channel, and you can see those videos in the top right hand corner, and the one thing I've realised is the more realistic elements of the game are the ones that I dread the most. By far, the two most tedious things in Red Dead Redemption 2 is one, riding across the map, which takes ages. Now, of course, that's fixed with fast travel and stagecoaches, so it's not a massive issue, but in the first like 10% of the game, it's a bit annoying. And the next thing, which has been the thing that's been infuriating me the most at the moment, is having to hitch your horse. Hitching the horse in the game never works properly. Like, you'll try and slow your horse down and then your horse will kind of mill around and go into like this animated sequence where it goes near the post, and then it doesn't actually line up with the post properly, so you try and hitch your horse, and hitching your horse is integral to the game because that's how your horse's health regenerates when you're not on it or you're not feeding it. So that's an important mechanic within the game. But push and triangle, as it is on the PlayStation, push and triangle, waiting for the horse to hitch, and then waiting for that animation to finish so you can then take the thing that you've stowed on the back of the horse off, it's just a really tedious process. Now I know in Grand Theft Auto 6 we're not going to have horses that we stow stuff on, maybe we will, I don't know. They put a lot of work into that, maybe they'll carry that over into GTA 6, but for the most part we'll have cars, motorbikes and other vehicles, and it's a pretty well established thing by now that we're very likely to be able to store things in the boot of the car, the trunk if you're in the US, in the back of the car, whether it be weapons or items, whatever it might be. This is fine if it's not integral to the game, but the idea of storing things on the horse in Red Dead Redemption 2 is an important way for you to carry stuff around. This has got me thinking more down the rabbit hole that maybe I shouldn't go down, but naturally you just start thinking and one thought leads to another. If you have a car and you put stuff in the back of the car and then you steal another car, you have to take the things out of your car, do that whole animation sequence where the person rummages around the boot of the car, trunk of the car, and then go over to the other vehicle, do the same thing. Like in Red Dead Redemption 2, you have to move your saddle from one horse to another. The more I start thinking about this, the more I'm realizing that these things, they'd be cool to do once or twice in the context of maybe the odd mission here or there. But in the long run of playing the game, can I be bothered? Now this all comes down to one very important thing, which is implementation. How do they put these dynamics into the game? Is the process of you doing the thing actually tedious, or do they have another weird way that it works a lot better? Like, they may come up with options like marking a personal vehicle as yours, and whatever personal vehicle is marked as yours, all your stuff's in it. Like, there's easy ways to get around it, but obviously we don't know. We're now like speculating on speculation. So we're going pretty deep down this rabbit hole of speculation. But if we zoom out from this and just look at every single realistic element that we could expect to see in the game, for example, being able to go into a convenience store and buy food or things to replenish your health in the game, what I realised from Red Dead Redemption 2 is by going into the general stores that are located in each individual town, it was a cool experience because just the actual design of the place and everything being correct for the time period, it made it a lot more magical. But I don't think there's as much majesty as walking into like a 7-Eleven style shop and then having to speak to the cashier and select what items off the shelf, or going up to items on the shelf and choosing them to make sure that each of your different health metrics, whether it be Deadeye, whether it be your actual health or your stamina, whatever it might be, is all up to scratch. And then this nicely leads me on to the next thing, which is in Red Dead Redemption 2, we had like different potions and elixirs that healed certain things, like they would give you more health for longer, or they'll give you better Deadeye. And it wasn't like one thing did each thing, there was multiple things that did different things, and when you brought up the item menu, you had to actually read into what does what, and then you had to look in the bottom left to figure out what it is you actually need, and it added kind of the mini game sort of vibe to things that, in my opinion, probably didn't need to be that tedious and didn't need to be a mini game within itself. Now, of course, it's just an opinion, but I think this is probably not helped by the fact I'm a YouTuber and making videos playing Red Dead Redemption 2, where I'm very conscious of keeping up people's engagement throughout the video to make sure it doesn't get too tedious for people. Maybe that's what's making me think negatively about the long process. Maybe I am biased in that sense, and I think it's only fair that I acknowledge that, because I don't want people to think that I'm a perfectly balanced person when it comes to reviewing games. I'm not. I have a bias, and anyone who says they are perfectly balanced is lying. Now, this brings me on to kind of one of my final points of the video, which is one that got me interested and then it got me concerned. From the leaks that we saw back in 2022, there was a lot of theories that because there was like hacking devices and stuff like that, we may have to break into higher end cars, like hack into them the same way higher end cars are stolen in real life, which sounds kind of cool and it is kind of realistic, and it's pretty awesome to take this modern carjacking approach to the whole concept of Grand Theft Auto. Do I really want to go up to a high-end car, then have to type in a sequence of buttons or follow an animation on screen to carjack the car? Like, I don't know. Part of me really wants it and part of me just really just doesn't. Let me know what your thoughts are about this, because this is really conflicting me. Do I want everything in the game to become a mini game? Because that's the only real way to make it realistic. If we want refueling mechanics, and if we want this whole ability to hack into cars or break into security cameras or break into lock systems and everything, it would make the game more interesting in the long run. So playing the game over the space of 10 years, being able to break into different buildings or different tool sets and stuff would be really cool. But I feel like just from a player experience and a probably short-sighted opinion on my half, is it all really worth it? Is that what we want? But the fact is we all want different things. Like, there is a pretty nice split of people that want ultra realism, which is why the whole role-playing community even exists. There's also a whole different subset of people that play games as a form of escapism, just to get lost in a game for a few hours. And do you really want to get lost in a video game and then have like a mechanic for paying your taxes? I don't know. I mean, that would actually make it pretty interesting, but it would also mean that everyone in the game is poor, because that's what taxes do. Don't get me started. But yeah, I'm very keen to hear what your thoughts on this down below. I'm very conflicted with what I want from the game, and I want it to be hyper realistic, but I also don't want it to be tedious. And I think there's something else to mention here as well. Sorry, my brain's a bit all over the place today. Everything that we've seen in Red Dead Redemption 2 is an animation sequence. Hitching the horse is an animation sequence. Getting something off the back of the horse is an animation sequence. Talking to a cashier in a shop is an animation sequence. And when there's like 4 things that you have to do consecutively, waiting for each of these animation sequences to finish is really boring. For example, if I've got something on the back of the horse and I have to hitch the horse, I have to wait for that sequence to finish before I can press square to remove the thing from the back of the horse, and then I have to wait for that sequence to finish before I can press L2 to talk to the guy at the butcher's shop to then sell him the thing that I'm trying to sell him. Like, there's just so much going on there. But that was probably a bad example, but there's too much going on in a confined space of time where it's just like you have to wait to do the next thing you want to do. And for a video game, I'm not sure if that's the right direction I want to go in. But at the same time, it all depends how they implement it. I think the implementation in Red Dead Redemption 2 was good, but not perfect. By no means was it perfect. And obviously Red Dead Redemption 2 was Rockstar attempting all of these different dynamics and mechanics to put into the game in preparation for GTA 6. So it is very likely that everything we've seen in Red Dead Redemption 2 will be improved upon, of course. But does that mean making it more realistic, or does that mean making it make more sense in the context of the game? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you all for watching today's video, and if you did find the video enjoyable, please consider liking and subscribing. It is massively appreciated. I'll see you all in the next one.